caffeine fiends, and welcome to another coffee review video for www.getbean.com. I'm Vince, the Mean Bean Machine, and today we're looking at some interesting branded coffee. So I was online scrolling through new coffees to look at and to try, and I was piqued by this original Stormtrooper coffee. Now, for those of you not in the know, Stormtroopers are, sort of characters in the Star Wars universe. I don't know who wouldn't know that, but I'm sure there are some people that don't. Now, being a massive child at heart, I thought, fantastic, I can get some Star Wars branded coffee, try it out, and what's better than Star Wars and coffee together? Now, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. I very much used to be when I was younger, and I still have some of the paraphernalia, as you can see. But I do admire a lot of the imagery. I really like a lot of the kind of iconic design around it. So I thought it would be fun to give this a go and test it out. Now, what is interesting about original Stormtrooper coffee is that it doesn't actually say Star Wars anywhere on the branding. It actually just keeps saying Stormtrooper and about Shepperton Design Studios and about the guy who designed the iconic Stormtrooper helmet, so Andrew Ainsworth. Now, if I remember correctly, a few years ago there was a big legal battle over this, over whether he owned his design rights, and I think he won that. So I don't think these are technically branded by Star Wars, because there's no mention of Star Wars on the packaging. Even when it says about Andrew Shepperton's design, it just says, he created the Stormtrooper helmets and armor for the first episode. It doesn't say the first episode of what. But being iconic enough, I imagine enough people understand what it's getting at. Yeah. So I don't think this is licensed by LucasArts or Disney or anyone. I think it is all by Shepperton Design Studios. In any case, I wanted to try the coffee out. So I went on their website and bought what I believe is called the original Comic-Con pack for 20 quid. Now, as far as I'm aware, they launched this coffee at London Comic-Con. I wasn't there, but if you buy this original Comic-Con pack, you get two batches or two bags, 250 gram bags of what they are calling the first roast. You get a commemorative postcard, which is very cool. I'm really loving the branding on this. I guess because it's Star Wars, but it's just a cool little, it's all just kind of like, oh, that's it brings this kind of nostalgic feeling back. And you get the postcard, the two packages of coffee, you get a little thing that gives you 10% off your next order, and then you get two stickers that say, I was there, this is the first batch. I presume because most people who know about the first batch would have been at London Comic Con. I wasn't, I just found this online. So I wasn't there, but I've got a sticker that says I was. Anyway. This doesn't tell you anything about tasting notes, which I'm slightly disappointed about, because it just suggests it's just a branding exercise. Someone's gone down the design route and gone, oh, you know what would be cool? Coffee. It does say it's 100% Arabica, and at this point in kind of coffee drinking, I would expect most coffees to be 100% Arabica. There's very few people who are now buying Robusta unless you're buying like instant, or you're at a train station and just need a caffeine hit sort of thing. In any case, it doesn't tell me anything about the tasting notes. It does have a brew guide which suggests using It does have a brew guide on the back of the packs which suggests using a French press rather than espresso. So I will give it a go as a cafetiere. I might also do it as an espresso, because ultimately that's what I do in the mornings. We'll give it a try, see if I can pick anything out, see if it's decent coffee. But it's a good, fun little brand, and I really hope the coffee lives up to, to it. I'm not expecting much because it doesn't say anything about the coffee, but I don't know. So we'll give it a go, we'll grind it up, give it a go as cafetiere, maybe give it a go as an espresso shot, see how we feel about it, and see how strong the force of the caffeine is. So here goes. So here we have our cafetiere, which I can plunge now, and we'll give a try out. And I've also done myself a little espresso shot. I ground it a little finer, obviously, for that. And we will compare and contrast with the two. So let's give this a pour and hope I've done this properly and it comes out all right. So not as dark as I would expect. I would say that's probably sat for a little more than 4 minutes. I would usually expect something darker. It's quite a light, you know, blend, quite see-through. But it's a light brown rather than that kind of dark, you know, intimidating black coffee. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. Let's give it a quick whiff. I don't get a lot off it, but it hasn't got that kind of soggy, damp smell that a lot of coffees have. It's got this kind of nice, savoury, there's something just kind of warm and savoury to it, I think, coming off of it. But there's no distinctive smells or tastes, but we'll give it a go. And touch wood, it will be a decent coffee. There's something to it, but I'm not sure what. So, from that, I'd say that's quite a mild coffee. I'm not getting a lot off it. There is a sort of slightly umami taste, which is really weird. You don't kind of drink it and go, that's a weird tasting coffee. But when you think about it, you're expecting sweet, you know, possibly sour, possibly acidic, and I'm not getting any of that. It's just kind of like, yeah, that's coffee. I think that's made for the broadest appeal possible, possibly even for collectors who aren't going to drink coffee too much, but do like Star Wars. And it's just a bit nothingy. And maybe it did need a bit longer. I mean, that is looking a bit anemic, but that's the standard 4 minutes and a decent amount of, you know, bean to water ratio, the right amount in terms of suggestion. So I'm just a bit at a loss there. So we'll give it a go as an espresso. See if we can get anything. Now there is a bit more chocolatiness coming off of that, as you would expect, and it's got not a bad crema. So let's see. Maybe my cafetiere skills are not up to much. Ooh. Oh wow. So yeah, although it suggests it's a cafetiere, I think it suggests it's a cafetiere because there's not a strong acidity to it, but there's not a lot of strength to it. But that's actually got this almost cinnamony taste, which is really bizarre but pleasant. It's got this nice kind of spicy fruity, you know, this, but it's not strong, it's not bold, but it's definitely there as an espresso. I wouldn't necessarily drink it as a latte because I feel the milk would just kill off any flavour. There's no real strength to it, but that is actually quite pleasant, and I'm really surprised from like a branded coffee. Like, no, let's be honest, no one is buying this going, this is going to be good coffee. People are buying it because it's got a Stormtrooper on the front of the pack. That's what I did. And I was sort of prepared to absolutely slate it, especially after the cafetiere, which is... It's just blah. Not bad, but not good either. You just, yeah. But you have it as an espresso, which is, again, really bizarre because the brew guide says give it a go as a cafetiere, yeah? But I'm just not feeling it. But, and to be fair, I am an espresso drinker. I drink espresso drinks, not necessarily cafetiere. And I often accuse other people of stewing their coffee to get, you know, a strong flavour from a cafetiere, and then I'll drink it and go, you've stewed that, you've brewed that far too long. And I brew things you know, to what I consider is the correct time and get nothing. So, I mean, maybe that's just my views on cafetiere, but I'm really surprised by a kind of cinnamon taste. I don't get that a lot. There is a slight acidity at the back of the throat, maybe a sort of mild apple. I don't know. It's not a strong acidity, but that kind of spicy, you know, yeah, I'd say cinnamony almost. It's really pleasant, but you put anything with it, like water or milk, and it's just gone. So actually, espresso drinkers, fill your boots, but if you like, you know, a long coffee, I don't think it's for you. So the pack here doesn't say much, but on the sticker itself, it says medium roast, single origin Colombian coffee with notes of chocolate and caramel. So I'm not getting a lot of the chocolate and caramel. There is a slight sweetness to it, but it's just very mild, and I think it's made for kind of the broadest appeal. So it's a sweet coffee, but it's just not powerful enough. It's not, don't get me wrong, I don't like an overpowering coffee, but I just don't get a lot of that. The sweetness just, it's there, but it doesn't really come through. And like I said, an espresso, that's kind of amped up a little bit and it's more cinnamony. I guess you could argue there's a chocolatiness to it. But it's just not. It's interesting because I would naturally be drawn to kind of chocolatey, caramelly coffee, and for me, it's just not quite there for me. I enjoy it as an espresso. I don't think I would make it my regular, you know, my regular drink. It's really interesting in terms of espresso, and in terms of cafetiere, which is what they're recommending, it's just not interesting at all to me. And again, that is partly also going to be personal taste, but I'm just going to kind of like blah and ooh, and the difference is quite stark. So, I mean, again, maybe I've just done the cafetiere wrong, but I'm just not feeling it. And yet, as an espresso, I'm like, yeah, cool. So ultimately, not bad coffee. It's just bizarre.